that feeling of just like that discouraged, confused, like, why is this not working? I'm thinking about food constantly, like that feeling is just gone. I eat the food that I have and I enjoy it and I move on. And, I'm not preoccupied with like what's coming next, or, I would get so excited for certain meals. It was almost unbearable, like, and like you should look forward to eating good meals. Like that's fine, but I wasn't getting what I needed. And I just didn't know. I was so confused. Like I knew I wasn't going about things the right way, but I didn't know what the right way was. I just felt so desperate when I read your description, and it's like you pulled the words out of my head before I even, you know what I mean? Before I even said them. And I was like, okay, I think she gets it. Like this is different. But yeah, and when we talked and we had that initial meeting, I just felt like you understood where I was coming from, and I felt like you heard me and you knew what I was looking for.
What was your experience together, and how would you say that your overall nutrition and wellness is at this point a year later?
I was so confused about food in the beginning because it was just like the idea of like nutrients and what you need and the numbers and all the things, and factoring exercise in. I was just like overwhelmed by all of it. And I was just like, how am I ever going to make sense of any of this? And because I knew that this program, isn't designed to last forever, that it's going to end at some point. And I just was like, how am I ever going to do this by myself? But showing up and making this a priority and really putting the work into it pushed me to understand it. And now I remember in the beginning it was really hard to like put a lunch together and think, okay, what do I need? A lot of trial and error, and a lot of, let's figure out what you like, what you don't like, but also how what you need looks on your plate. Once I figured that formula out with your help, it was like, okay, now I can replicate this. I can do this a different way. And I just feel like I have such better knowledge. Like even when I'm out to eat, I can look at a menu now and think, okay, that's probably not the best choice. So maybe I should have this. Or what are you going to value when you go out to dinner? What is going to make my body feel the best? And so that shifted too, not stuffing my face with everything. It was just like, okay, what's going to make me feel satisfied when I leave this restaurant? At the end of the night, it's like, yeah, that was a great experience. And it's no longer about having the dessert to like cope with the stress of the day. It's, what does my body need right now? And just experiencing being out. It's like I can look around now instead of focusing on my plate. I feel so much more confident with my ability to put food together. And that was something that I was severely lacking when we started. If you asked me to make a dinner, I would have no idea where to start. Like, I had no clue. And now I know what I need in each meal and what that looks like. And I feel more confident making those choices. And then they pay me back because it makes me feel good and it makes me feel satisfied and content with myself. And that was also part of the mindset that has now changed, is just one or two meals isn't going to make much of a difference. That helps me now on days when maybe I eat a little too much or I eat for stress reasons. That helps me calm myself down because it's like, all right, one day that's not the greatest isn't going to ruin everything. But also, you're not going to drop 20 pounds if you have one good week. And I think I was sort of expecting that. And that was the mindset that I was in based on all the experiences I'd had. And it's not accurate. It doesn't work that way. So I really had to learn that this takes time. It takes time of figuring out what I need, being able to do that and have those foods consistently and regularly. And then you start to see like the more physical results. I think I kept that in mind. And also, I really started to see emotional changes and mood changes and my confidence. Externally, my body looked the same, but inside, I started to feel different. And it's that I think helped more than anything else. I kept telling myself when I would weigh myself, I was just like, okay, the number didn't change, but I feel amazing. So it's working because I could feel it like at my core. I could tell it was working.
And that motivated you to keep doing it and to stay consistent. And then as a result, the physical aspects happened. I mean, we've been through moving together. We've been through vacations and traveling and holidays and eating out. And that's why I love working with people on a long-term basis, because we can navigate all of these seasons of life together.
Mhm.
So that way you are more confident to do this on your own because we've practiced together.
Great. Hmm.
So it's so cool now that you can say, okay, I've done all these things, these big life changes, and still continue to prioritize myself in the mix of it.
Yeah, I remember coming up on a big change and I was just thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? Nutritionally, I was worried about that. Like I'm going to fall back into all these old habits because of the stress. And I don't know, it was weird. It was like the voice inside my head that had always been there that was like, well, I don't know if you can do this. It was just like, of course you can do this. You're going to do the same thing you've been doing. It doesn't change. You know what I mean? Like you've maintained consistency through
Yeah.
all of these other moments. Why wouldn't you do it this time? So as soon as that clicked, I was just like, okay, yeah, I got this. I can do this.
You're doing it.
Yep.
So, what would you say to someone that maybe was in your shoes initially and is hesitant to take the next step to do nutrition coaching? What would you say is different than like a typical diet program in this approach for someone that's hesitant to take that step?
It's definitely normal to be nervous, but I think it doesn't feel like a program. Like I know it is, but it doesn't
Right.
it doesn't feel like it. It's you get your life back through this. The other thing that's amazing is that, when we started working together, you said, I will never tell you not to eat something.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was huge. There were no restrictions. There was no like, this is bad food, this is good food, like, don't eat this, make sure you eat this. Like, it wasn't restrictive. It was based on what I wanted, what I valued. I still can have all the stuff I enjoy. I can have wine at dinner, I can have pizza, I can eat chocolate. It's not restricted. You learn how to incorporate that into your life the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be once in a while, and when you do have it, you don't overdo it. Like, you learn how to do that. And I never ever thought I would ever be able to do that. I never thought I'd have self-control when it came to chocolate or pizza. And
Yes.
I do now. Like, I can have a slice or two and it's not a big deal. I can have like one piece of chocolate and put it back in the cupboard. I've never been able to do that in my life ever. So
Yes.
this is different because you can, you learn those skills. You learn how to be so satisfied nutritionally that you don't run to those foods anymore. I've learned that the reason I was going to those all the time, the reason I didn't have self-control over that, was because I wasn't eating what I needed. I wasn't giving my body what it needed, and it was just screaming for anything. That was the issue. And so anybody that's considering this, I would definitely tell them to do it. It's so worth it. I never thought I would learn all the things that I did when I started this. Like, I knew that I was hopeful that I would finally learn about food and nutrition and how to give myself what I needed. And I did, but just so much more came with that I never saw coming. I never expected. It's just incredible how much you've helped me. I
Oh,
can't thank you enough.